Hi.
sorry.
That was so cool.
I
That
know.
was so cool.
You
I
you
was
built it
recording.
up. Allie talked about the graphic before we came on, and we were really expecting something big, and they delivered. That was amazing.
That was
To
like
be clear,
the
I hadn't
music.
seen the graphic, but I did an event with Ashley Poston and for back like 2 years ago for the Dead Romantics, by the way, excellent book, highly recommend. And he did a graphic like that. And so I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be
It was everything you promised and
it
more.
was
That
so
was very
beautiful.
cool.
It's the lightning. Oh my God.
Yeah. If
I
I
was the
didn't
music. The
if I
music
hadn't
got
already
me.
wanted to read the book, I would have to read the book.
Right? Yeah, totally.
Oh my God. Genius. I'm just like, yeah, you guys, well, let's go home now. Like
Okay, yeah, we're
what
done. That
you
was
can't
good. We're
top
done.
this.
We're done. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the chat. I'm Nisha, and I am so honored to moderate this discussion today. I'm the author of Trial of the Sun Queen, which is my most well-known book, I guess. And I'm just like thrilled to be here with you today. So quick before we get started, your signed Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of Bride will be in the mail, and you can expect them in the next 8 to 10 business days. So don't email them a million times and ask them. They didn't say that, but I'm just saying it on their behalf. And with us,
I
we
love it.
have Zio Axelrod, who has a book birthday today too. Tell us about your book.
I do. It's called Girls with Bad Reputations, and it is book 2 in my 4-book series about an all-female rock band. This one follows our drummer, Kayla. She's living kind of a double life, and her romantic interest is a book nerd. He takes a job as a driver of their tour bus so that he can read. Like, such a cinnamon roll. I love them to
Nice.
death, but
What a man.
yeah, yeah, he's amazing. They're amazing.
Love it. Love
Can
it.
I just say that everyone was seeing me holding this book, like because I bought it, I had an e-copy, so I bought a hard copy yesterday. Everyone has told me how beautiful this cover is. Like
It is.
literally
Isn't it
everyone. Like I was
Gorgeous.
walking around the store and people were stopping me, telling me,
really?
and I was like, "It's mine. Go away."
Yeah, I
Beating
love the
people off with the
cover.
book there.
Exactly. Anyway,
All
I
right.
yeah, beautiful.
All right, so we're
Yeah.
going to get into a bit of a discussion about Bride. I guess we'll try and keep this spoiler free because I'm assuming some people in the chat have not read the book yet because it
I
just
haven't
came out
finished it yet,
today.
so yes, we can't.
All right, I
Don't
did
spoil
finish
me.
it, and I loved how very Allie Hazelwood it was, but like totally different also. Like your writing is always so very distinct. And the moment I'm in one of your books, I know it's yours, and I love that. But anyway, so that's awesome. And then we'll take some questions from you guys. You can upvote the questions. We have them sort of set so that the most popular questions will float to the top. So if there's anything in there you want answered, go in and vote on it, and then we'll wrap this up. So let's start with your transition from contemporary romance to fantasy. Like
Yeah,
what was that like? I mean, you have STEM heroines, and you kind of still did this time, so that didn't really
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
that's true.
She wasn't supposed to be, but I needed her to be good at computers. And so I was like, you know what? You know what?
It was on brand. I liked
It
that
was,
aspect.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was like, you know what? Like, let's just lean into this. It was just, I think I really needed a break. I wrote this book after I turned in Love Theoretically. No, I don't remember. Yes, I think so. So it was after my what is
It's
time?
all a blur. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway, and I think I just really needed something else, and I needed to have like there's a lot of pressure in that comes in writing something similar to what you have already written, just because you're like, will people think that it's a disappointment? Will it not be good enough or whatever? How
yeah.
will it
Right.
measure up? I feel like I always say this, but I I am sort of like my first book was such a breakout in a way that like I'm
Mhm.
never gonna top that. And so it's just nice to go away.
Never say
And it's
never.
fine. Never
That's
said I
interesting. Yeah, like
I am waiting for my big breakout in the
I think you had your
as
big
a-
breakout. I would guess it.
oh there is okay, so actually there is this TED talk by the lady who wrote um uh Eat, Pray, Love. I forgot her
Oh yeah,
name.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
you know who I'm talking about. And
I know
it's
what you
about
mean. I
Yeah.
can't.
yeah, and it's about like writing a big book and then like your following books are just not gonna do as well. And it's about, like finding joy
Yeah.
Yeah.
in that. And so I was like, you know what? I watched that talk because Sarah McLean, who is amazing, told me to watch it and it healed me of everything.
That's
So
amazing.
and now
Wow.
I
I'm
actually
just
Okay.
I
now I'm
actually
writing, but I'm
saw
also romantic.
Katie Robert posted something like that the other day on Threads. She was saying she said she had a really successful book and nothing
Yeah.
was measuring, but then she just found joy in every book she published, and that's her marker of success rather
Yes,
than
yes,
Yeah.
that
We
is
talk about
the
that all
yeah,
the time, her and I.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Nice.
is it,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I'm waiting for my big breakout, and then I'll
I
relax.
mean,
I know.
I mean, what like
Hey.
people, but like, is it weird? I don't know because I've never written a series like as in characters that are introduced in one
Mhm.
book, then like
Mhm.
are gonna get their book next, and like I do wonder, is it hard? Like, do you feel like you have to respect the characters in the previous book? I don't know. I'm
As
so
someone who is
impressed.
just finishing up her first series, let me tell you that the fourth book was the hardest damn book I've ever had to write. Like it just
Really?
The fourth,
yeah, because it's a 4-book
uh,
series. Well, it's the last book in this series, right?
because
So
you're
like
closing it up.
yeah,
Yes.
because
Okay.
Oh,
like
right,
the
right.
third book's not out yet, but of course in publishing land, you're a whole book ahead of everybody else, right? So I'm
Yeah.
Right.
writing
Yeah.
book, I'm writing book 4, but I let me just tell you that's the hardest book I've ever had to write because you have to like make it all connect now, all these things even, and you can't make anything new because this book can't be 700 pages. Well, yeah, maybe it can, but I don't think anyone's going to appreciate that. So
Did you know how it was gonna end? Like when you
I
started the series?
sort of like I knew kind of the big things.
Yeah.
I'm a pantser. I'm not a plotter, so I kind
Same.
of just
Yeah,
Same.
fly by.
Fencer Club.
Yeah, and
Yeah. Panzer Club.
even this book I thought was going to end a different way than it did when I started writing it, which was kind of fun. But oh, you guys
Yeah,
just
things change. Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm writing, I don't write until I've had their scenes and the dialogue and everything playing out in my head for quite a while. So it's like watching a movie on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And then once
I'll
I
do
feel like
that
I
too.
know
Yeah.
what's happening, that's when so I know what's happening with the other two books, at least as far as like the band. I know where the band is going. I know what's going to happen with them. It's the romantic relationships that I'm not quite sure of yet because like with
Oh,
this book, we didn't meet Ty, her love
right.
interest, until this book. So, I
Oh,
didn't have any
awesome.
foresight there. It just
Interesting.
showed up. Yeah.
That's the only thing I know when I start writing is who is going to kiss and when. Like that's the
Oh,
only
okay.
It's so true. Like I usually the first thing that comes into my head is the sex scene, and
yes,
I don't know what
okay,
it tells
yes.
about me. I'm
No,
like I
I'm with you, Ellie. That's like
the first time they do it, I know exactly what position, where they are. I
and
don't know.
you can build a whole plot around that, it turns out.
Of course. It's what one does. Come on.
That's awesome.
I
Okay,
That's
am
so
awesome.
we should teach writing. Like
which,
we should
yeah,
actually
that's
like give classes of how
it's
to build our
almost like you know what you're doing or something like that.
Yeah. You should be a writer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the next
should
question.
I?
Which two characters across all of your books would get along the best and who would get along the worst?
Are you talking like as in with my like
Yeah,
characters of
across all
my
of your books. Yeah.
with Zeus books or
No, just
with
yours. I don't know if you
okay.
know if unless you know any characters. No, just
That would be
yours.
I think
interesting.
Highlight Misery
No,
would
no, just your
do
characters.
great,
I think
honestly.
Misery and Lily would get on really well.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I yes.
Misery was such a good name. I love that name. That was
I
such a
know,
good
I
yeah.
name.
loved it.
Yeah.
My I actually asked my friends. My friends were like, "I think it's a little bit too cringe even for you."
No, I loved it.
Really?
I
Oh,
loved
no. I
And I
loved
was like,
it. I love it.
"No, it's gonna be Misery." It was. So thank you for the validation.
You know, I loved it. I was like, this is such a it was such a perfect name for her because she's like a little bit like Maudlin, but like, yeah, I thought it was such a good name for her.
Yeah, yeah, agreed.
Oh God. Can you go first? Because I have no idea.
I don't know.
Oh, gee.
Someone in the chat said Misery and Adam BFS. You
Oh my
agree?
God.
Do you agree?
Oh.
I think
He was pretty grumpy, right? Maybe they
Adam
would
will
get
get
along.
along with anyone who leaves him alone. I think that's all he needs, honestly. It just needs to be left alone. So yes, they would like Misery
Yeah.
would not
She'd be
care
on her
about him.
computer and he would be
Yes.
like, just leave me alone. There you
And he
go.
would probably like I think the bigger you are, the more blood you have. I know I'm a scientist, but I don't know if this is true in science, but like just from
I think
like
Do
it feels like it
do you
feels
have
like it
more
would be
blood when you're
It
bigger?
sounds
Is there a
true. It
doctor in the
sounds true.
chat?
that's true.
Sure, let's go with that.
So yes, thank you. And so I'm just gonna say that like he would make a lot of blood and she could feed from him. But like it would be a feeding where like nothing sexual happens because he's busy with like he has a
Yeah. He has
that's
a
it.
girl well, he's hooked up, so he can't do that. And so
Exactly.
is she, so
And
that
so
would be
is
weird.
she. Yeah.
Yes,
There's
that
that.
would be weird. Surprise, it's romance, right? We know we know the ending. Okay,
Ah.
I really like this question because there was a lot of really funny moments in Bride, but what was the thing that made you laugh the loudest? Because I have my answer and I want to hear yours, both of you.
Oh, uh, I- guys, it was so long ago.
I know. You're like, I wrote that? I don't
Do you
remember writing it.
remember, like, do you remember what happened? Like, if
So
it,
I got the audiobook a couple of or like a week ago. And so I was listening to the audiobook and I'm laughing like at 2 o'clock in the morning because I was like, wow,
Nice.
this scene is really funny. Like who wrote, oh right, that was me. Like I
That's I
totally
know, I'm funny.
this is genius. I love that.
yeah, yeah.
This is the attitude one should have toward their writing. Like I
Oh,
want that. Like
agreed.
I yes, and I you know how like sometimes you write your book and you're like or you reread a scene and you're like I am the worst writer to ever live. Like I
Oh,
it's
Every
especially at
book.
the end when you've read it about 73 million times
God.
and you're like, this is the most boring book anyone ever
I
read.
know, I
Because
know.
you
It's
Yeah,
like
you
yeah.
I know,
you
I know.
know every word by now. Okay, Kayla said that she confirmed the Red Cross says the bigger you are, the more blood you have. So at least
Thank
we
you so
um
much.
Kayla.
Thank you. I am so glad we were
Glad
Validation.
not.
we sorted that out. Okay, my favorite moment in Bride is when it's actually near the beginning when she's getting married and she's talking about the stylist and the stylist who tells her to stop calling it a onesie.
Oh, yeah.
And I just thought that just like totally captured her humor. And I just started giggling. I was like, this is so funny. Just so I don't know. She keeps
Okay.
telling me to stop calling it a onesie. And I'm just
Okay, this is totally a stolen joke from my friend Katie. Hi Katie. We did our postdocs together, but like back like a million years ago. And I remember we had like this undergrad who was amazing, by the way. So if the undergrad recognizes herself in this conversation, we love you and everything. But like she came to work with like it was a jumpsuit, but this was like 6 or 7 years ago. There weren't a lot of jumpsuits going on in
in
they
those
weren't in
days.
style, I want to say. And so Katie turns to me and she's like, "Is she wearing a onesie?" And I remember, and I never forgot that moment.
It reminded me of when Serena Williams wore that jumpsuit at was it Wimbledon or the US Open? It was so and they didn't want her to wear
Oh,
it. Do you remember that
yes.
like a few years ago?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
Why?
I pictured in my
Because
head.
it didn't have
It was
the
like a
skirt
white
and the because
yeah,
it has to be their like
yeah, yeah,
archaic idea of what women should wear when they play
Can you
yeah,
tennis.
a
imagine
sport.
telling Serena
I
Williams what
know,
she should be
telling Serena
wearing?
Williams what to wear.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I hope she kicked all their asses. Yeah.
What is okay? What is your favorite like? What was the scene that made you laugh like at 2 a.m.? I need to know which one was it.
Okay, this is gonna
Is
make
it a
it sound really
let's do
weird.
spoiler.
No, it's not a spoiler, but there's a scene, they're on the bus because a lot of the book takes place on a tour bus, and, Kayla's resting in her bunk, just, like, chilling out, and Ty gets relieved from driving, and he's got a bunk of his own, it's across from hers. So he notices that she's awake, and so he's talking to her, and he's looking down at her, and he's like, you know, "What were you thinking?" He's like, were you reading?" She's like, "No, I was just thinking," and he's like, "What were you thinking about?" She says, "I was thinking about peeing." And he's like, okay." And she's like, "You know how when you're in bed and you're really comfortable, but you have to pee and you don't wanna
Oh,
move,
I know
you know?"
that
And he's like, "Well, you know, don't let me stop you." And she's like, "No, I don't have to actually go. I was just thinking about it." And I was like, "Who wrote this?" And like, how many drams of whiskey
It's
did
so
I
funny.
have when I was writing this scene?
that's
Do
awesome.
you guys write drunk? Like, is
Not
that
like
just a
drunk, but like I don't mind
No,
a glass of wine sometimes when I'm writing.
not when I'm writing, no. It's all tea and seltzer,
yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm so boring. I don't even eat, like,
And
I don't even have, like, a bottle of chocolate or anything. I just, like, a
Yeah.
handful of pecans and some tea.
That is healthy. It's
Yeah,
good.
say you're probably a lot healthier than
Exactly.
I am,
I
that's
once
for sure.
tried to ride while high, and it was just
No, that's impossible.
it was
It's
like
impossible.
I thought I was a genius.
Yeah.
But I wrote 3
It
sentences. They
doesn't
were
I
unusable.
can't read like that either. I'm just like, it just feels like I waste my whole yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. I can only watch cookie decorating TikToks when I'm high. Like that's the only activity that
Yes,
I
pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. That's about the brain capacity one can summon, is watching
exactly.
someone else do something hard.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay, let's go on to some of your writing process for who do you listen to music wise when you are writing? What do you listen to? Do you listen to music? You must, Theo, because your whole thing is about music.
I mean, yes, you have to if you're writing a
Yeah.
book
I'm
about
also a
music.
mellophile, so I always have music in my head.
Nice.
Oh,
So I have
I
to
didn't
have
know there was a
something
word for
on.
that. I
I
didn't know there
I
was.
love
didn't
that.
either.
Oh,
I found out a few
I'm
years
gonna
ago.
write it down. I'm sorry. It's very important.
mellophile?
I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be a
Somebody mentioned
beautiful
it in
book
an
title?
interview and I was like, "Oh, that's me." Yeah, so like there's always music playing. So like I sleep with music on, I write with music on,
Oh,
What do you
unless I'm
listen to?
watching something.
What do you listen?
I have a playlist on Spotify that has like 500 songs on it and it's all instrumental. So it's like cinematic scores, like
Nice.
classical stuff like that.
Nice.
I have those playlists that are like with lyrics that if I'm trying to get into a mood, like
hmm
my Nine Inch Nails playlist or my whatever, to get me into whatever mood I'm writing, but generally it's instrumental.
Nice.
Nine Inch Nails is like it's so sexy and carnal
Yeah.
sometimes. I'm like,
Yes.
whoa, this is
Exactly.
kind of
Exactly.
it
I mean,
feels
what could
weird.
you possibly write listening to Closer? I have no
I
idea
know.
what
No
you could,
idea. And that's the first song
what
on the playlist.
kind of scene you would possibly write to
Like
that.
Nine Inch Nails and Peaches is like a lot of that.
What do you listen to, Allie? I think
Um,
you might be a Taylor Swift fan because I saw
I am.
your cursing of Ticketmaster and your
My
acknowledgments.
God. My God. Like you guys, those were I turned in the book right when like the tickets were on sale and I no, like so yeah, I love Taylor Swift, but I can't listen to words when
Yeah.
honestly not even to music. I think my auditory buffering is just too taken by the writing. Like I don't need silence, but I need like I can't have something that is more interesting than what I'm writing
Hmm.
happening. And
Yeah.
literally, you know how when you're writing, everything is more interesting than what you are supposed to
Sometimes,
be
yeah.
doing.
That's
Like
right.
Laundry,
exactly.
cleaning,
It's like,
like
oh my God,
everything.
I could be cleaning now.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I could be staring at the wall and it would be so amazing. So yeah, I can't do that. But I am very excited. And I know this is like there is literally no relationship between the question and what I'm about to say, but
What?
like the tortured poets department, I am so excited.
My 12-year-old daughter is a huge Swiftie, and I've heard about nothing else since yesterday. We have tickets to go to Vancouver in December this year.
Oh,
I'm
cool.
taking my 2 nieces and my daughter, and I'm the aunt with the mostest.
Oh my God, you
Brownie points for life.
I was
yes.
shaking when I was shaking. I was like, I gotta get these tickets.
If you ever need like you will never be put in a home. I'm just saying.
Yeah, right? I think that should, yeah, I know. Little does she know it's her birthday present for literally the next 10 years. But anyways, well,
I'm going to a concert to the one in Montreal. That
nice, awesome.
again, I did not get a ticket. My friend did, and then I begged her to let me go with
Like,
her.
please. Yeah.
But I love maybe your daughter and I should be in touch.
I think it should be. I showed her the Ticketmaster thing, and she thought that was quite hilarious.
Was it? Did you guys try to get tickets before as well? Like
Well, yeah,
for
we tried when it was in Toronto because I'm in Canada, right? Like I live in
right?
Canada.
Yeah.
So we tried for Toronto and didn't get the code. And then my mom's friend got the code for Vancouver. And then I sat on she like gave me her login and I sat on her Ticketmaster account freaking out while she was at school. And yeah, so
Wow.
I texted her at school and I was just like, yeah, so it was pretty exciting, but
I like you are gonna be the best
I
mother
know. I know.
like
I felt pretty cool that day, which is not something that happens very often anymore when you have
they will never forget
yeah.
this.
When you're surrounded by teenagers, they just
Yeah.
remind you how often you are not cool, but
Uh,
Well, let's talk about writing a book. You both mentioned that sometimes you want to do anything but. So what is the hardest part about writing a book for you?
Starting.
Starting,
Chapter
okay.
1.
Chapter one.
Chapter 1 is always the hardest. Just
It's
being a
so hard.
pantser, it's like, okay, here we go.
It's so blank because you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
so what am I gonna? And now what
yeah,
do they do? I mean, I
yeah.
know how they're gonna have sex, but what between that moment?
We gotta get there
Something has to
first.
happen
Yeah,
up to
yeah,
there.
I mean, and why do I have to fill the time between the moment where they meet and the moment they have sex? It's
Do you
unfair.
write linearly? Do you write like, scene
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
so funny because I started from fan fiction, and in fan fiction I
me
did
too.
not.
Yeah,
Fellow
fanfic.
A3 girl. Well, and I don't know if like my process changed a lot. Like when you wrote fan fiction, were you doing it like in order, or did you even? It's so much lower stakes that I just going with the flow all the time. But now I feel like I have to have
Yeah,
like a storyline, and like the characters have to, do things that make sense based on what they did
right.
before. So
I
yeah.
think I like episodic serialized fiction, and so it really suited me. I would, like, post 2 or 3 chapters a week, like, every other day or something like that, and I had no idea what was coming. I would just sit down and start writing in 2,000 words, 3,000 words, and then that would be it. That's how I wrote
It's
my first
so
book,
fun. Okay,
serialized.
what was your first ship that you wrote for?
It was Buffy and Spike.
I have to introduce. Well, no, have you met Julie Soto? I feel like you've met her at the
I don't
yes,
think we've met in
Stimulate.
person. I don't think
Okay.
we've met in
Well,
person.
I think that was her first ship that like brought her to Anime Swap. So I will have to introduce you guys. So you
Yeah,
guys,
okay, cool.
I find Spike not as hot as Angel. I'm sorry. I had
I'm
to
done.
say.
No, kidding.
I have to agree with you on that one.
Wait, with me or with
Yeah,
who?
yeah. I'm team Angel. Team Angel.
I mean,
You're
he
the
was
first
so
Team Angel people
broody.
I've met in a long time. In a long
there's
time.
there's dozens of us. Dozens.
Dozens. There's at least 12. At least
Dozens.
13. Make dozens.
He's the one that gets away. So
Mm,
and then like
gotcha.
he has this one moment of happiness when they do it, and then he loses his soul, and that was so hot.
I see what angle you're coming at this from, Allie. But counter argument, Spike fought to get his soul back so that he would be good enough for her. I mean,
Whatever.
that's
Yeah,
a
I
I mean
brave
mean,
gesture.
that's book
Like
boyfriend
whatever.
behavior. That's book boyfriend behavior. I mean,
It
I
totally is. It
yeah.
totally is. It totally is.
I've had this conversation with Julie so many times, and Julie every time is like, this is what you don't get, and I'm like, whatever,
Yeah, I
fine.
know. Oh man, we used to, the conversations we used to have in that fandom.
I love that. Like it's really there is nothing like being part of a fandom and then like having these memories of weird like infights or weird little
Mhm.
memes that are only understandable to the people within the fandom. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I just love it so much.
There's quite a legacy of popular authors who all came from fanfic lately.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just incredible. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I had no idea fanfic existed until a few years ago. I don't know where I was, but
I
anyways,
I
it was
discovered
not
fan
where
fiction
it's
at
not where I
like
came from.
same though. Like I discovered fan fiction in my late 20s, and like I'm like when I was a teenager. I think it's because I didn't grow up speaking English.
Right.
Mm.
So like and most of the fan fiction wasn't.
I blame growing up with immigrant parents because your experience is different. I don't know. You
Where
don't do like some of the same things your friends do when yeah.
was your internet access heavily monitored, or were you just not interested in fan
This is where
fiction?
I show my age. I did not have internet until I was in university. Like
Okay.
yeah, I'm that last generation of people who did not have
Well, I mean, I'm in Italy. I am from Italy, so we had internet, but like it was really bad internet. Like
yeah.
even when here internet was high speed, for us it was like
Oh yeah, we had the dial up for sure. That's for yeah, those were the
Dial up, I
days.
remember dial up.
Okay, so
Wow.
speaking of fan fiction, sort of vampires, werewolves, are you team Edward or team Jacob?
Um,
Well,
I'm
we're
Team
on the tough
Lestat.
subject of vampires and okay, Lestat. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm
I
Team
love that.
Lestat.
But
Oh, we got lots of Edwards in the chat here.
you
Oh,
know,
I
Anne
whoa.
Rice hated
Jacob.
fan
Wow.
fiction. I feel
Anne
like she
Rice
would,
was kind of like
yeah.
not that nice
I feel like
sometimes,
she
right?
would love it. Like this answer is perfect considering
It's
that.
true. I will say Interview with the Vampire was my first intro into
It was,
fantasy. That was like my first. I was like,
yeah, I
whoa,
loved
yeah,
it
Yeah.
too.
yeah,
I
yeah.
read every word that she ever wrote. She was like my
I'd read for a long time until
instructor.
like she kind of started not writing. It started to meander, I guess is the word I'm looking. Started to meander.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
when you are
Yeah.
Anne Rice, you can just write like
Yeah.
whatever you want and
At
like,
that point, it was
Mhm.
like,
yeah,
I'm
you're
just
like, it's
gonna
just,
write whatever the hell I want to.
yeah,
No one can stop me. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah,
She took a
absolutely.
detour, then she came back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's aspirational really to be able to be like, hey, publisher, here is my Poor Lady's Guys fan fiction. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
published.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, we got a
uh,
team Alice. Yeah, I mean Alice was pretty cool too.
Alice was honestly amazing.
Yes, she was
Um,
pretty cool too.
someone for one of the Q&A in the Q&A box, someone wrote, "Hey Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca?" And
I
I
saw
wanted
that
to.
at the beginning.
I'm afraid to disappoint the person when I say that. I was like, to me, it never occurred to me that like Bella would end up with anyone but with Edward. Like I just
Yeah.
and
Well, he was set up from the very beginning. Like it wasn't ever
yeah,
gonna be.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So like the whole team Jacob, team Edward, for me, it was never a thing just because I just knew
You
that she
knew.
was gonna end up with him. But it's not that I didn't like Jacob. I thought Jacob was great. I just
He
didn't.
You knew what
was
the
the
end
right
game
choice
was.
for their baby daughter later down the road. He was
This conversation is so off the rails.
I am dying. That is
little
well put. That is
little Renesmee action. Okay, we're gonna go into some questions from the crowd.
Hi.
I just saw
Okay.
the word jail in the capital letters pop up on the screen.
Listen, I love Twilight. I also was not, past teenagerhood when I read the first book on the airplane on going to my honeymoon. We were flying to Croatia, and I read the first book, and then I finished it, and I was like, what am I going to do there? How am I going to read the rest of this? And we found an English bookstore in Dubrovnik, and they had the second and third books, and I was so excited.
Yeah.
And I
That's
bought
awesome.
them, and it was my honeymoon, and I said to my husband, I'm like, I'm going to be reading, so like.
Wait, isn't Bella on her honeymoon? Is it book 3 that
Yeah, and
she's
they go
on?
to
3.
Italy,
Yeah.
and we went to
Right?
Italy too. So I mean, it was parallels, and it sort of,
Amazing.
yeah, it sort of set the tone for our entire marriage. In that, like, I'm reading, don't bother me, right? Like,
I
Happy
love
birthday,
this.
Taylor.
okay, so what was your favorite book to write? Is the most upvoted question we have.
Oh, I'm thinking about it. Feel free to go
always
first.
tough. Well, it's
Yeah.
always tough because it's always the one that either you're working on or that you just finished, So like,
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
because I think so, for me anyway. It's the one that's like the closest to me at the time. So it's going to be
Mm.
Girls with Bad Reputations. And also because Ty and Kayla came out of nowhere. And Ty's grandfather is very prominent in this book, and their relationship is like the sweetest thing.
He's
It's just,
so,
it's
I
so much
know.
fun. I know.
He's
Yeah.
he steals the scene.
Pop up. Pop up steals the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know. Like I would say I had fun writing Bride. It was very fun just because I was like, you know what?
It was a
I'm just
change. It was a change for
and
you.
yeah, and there was this moment of I think I was feeling a little bit like it was, it was what I needed to write at that time. So it was fun. Like it felt like, I'm doing something different right now, and it doesn't matter whether, people are gonna like it or not. I'm just gonna do it. And that felt nice. In that moment was what I needed. Um I really like my YA Check and Mate. That is, I think, my best book. And as I was writing it, I literally like, when, like you said, sometimes you see the scenes in your head, right?
yeah.
But then you
Yeah.
write them down and they don't come out the way you see them. But like with
Yeah.
Check and Mate, it just happened. Like they came out the way I thought they should
Wow, that's awesome.
come out.
That's
I
awesome.
know it will never happen again, but that one time was amazing.
We take what we get, right?
It
Yeah.
happened once early in my career, and now I get to like measure every single thing that happens to me against that, and isn't that
Yeah, I have a book
amazing?
like that.
Yeah.
I have a book like
Yeah.
that. Came
Yeah.
3 days, the entire book just onto the
What?
screen.
3
Yeah,
days?
3
Wow.
days.
That's
Yeah,
intense.
it
I've
was.
heard of that happening. Like it's basically you are possessed by the
You're just
characters.
dictating, yeah, at that point,
Yeah.
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 Oh my God. I
So
love that
yours
for you.
are interconnected standalone, Zio?
This series is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. And
yeah.
so, Allie, have you ever been tempted to write another book with any of the same characters from those that you have?
Like like another standalone, maybe.
Yeah.
Like
I think
for
it's tough because it's a romance. It's
yeah.
done, right? Like,
Yeah,
they
definitely.
live
Like
happily ever after. Yeah.
I really admire the people who are able to like drag like one of my favorite series ever is the Lady Sherlock series by Sherry Thomas. And there is this like overarching romance
Mhm.
that like it starts in not even in book one. Like in book one you get introduced to the characters and then it slowly like builds up. And now they are in love, but like she is able to maintain this amazing tension between like across all the books, and I'm like how are you
Right.
doing this without either frustrating me or making me feel like, well, whatever, they're together now, like I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
Right,
Absolutely.
right.
That is
And
definitely
yeah, it's
tricky.
the Sherry Thomas talent, I guess. I don't know how she does it, but she's amazing.
That's awesome. Okay, we have a question about your next book, Not in Love. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
um so I feel like I need to premise like it's guys, it's not really a rom-com. I don't know how to say this except that I was in my angst time and I didn't really feel like writing something funny, so it's kind of a sad
Oh,
book.
good. I love
They
angst. More
Ooh,
angst, the
okay.
better.
Yeah.
I know. I wish I could I wish I could put like not even like a warning, but I wish I could like go to people and be like, okay, so this book is not gonna be a rom-com
Yeah,
like
this
all
is
my
not as
other.
fun.
It's
Right,
not
yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
fun. It's not gonna be fun. You're not gonna laugh. It's these are deeply damaged people who are finding
Interesting.
each other. I don't know. I think I was just
Oh,
feeling that in that
so a
moment,
bit like
and
darker than your usual stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
I just I don't know. I guess I wasn't feeling fun
I
in the
is
moment.
it okay? There's a couple questions. Is it spicy though? And does it have any HEA?
It's okay. So you know how now everything is a rom-com, like
Yeah, every
literally
contemporary romance is a rom-com these days.
exactly. Like, but even this, they would say a fantasy. They would call it a fantasy rom-com because
Yeah,
everything is a
yeah,
rom-com in publishing, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
everything's a
so
yeah.
rom-com.
which is a little bit of a source of frustration because sometimes some books, like I have heard people saying that Kennedy Ryan writes rom-coms, and I'm like,
She does not.
have
No,
you
she
read the
does not.
Queen's? She does not. She writes like love story that
She
are
writes
beautiful.
contemporary romance, right? Yeah,
Exactly. And
yeah.
I feel
Mhm.
like we as people kind of shy away from the contemporary romance label.
Yeah.
But like yes, I I would say it's a an erotic contemporary romance. Like it's definitely my spiciest book and it's
Ooh, spiciest. Do you see that, everyone?
yeah,
Spiciest.
it's just because it's the book that they bond through sex because they are very emotionally
Oh my
unavailable. So
God,
like
Allie, I'm
I
so
loved it. I love writing
excited.
it. I was
Woo,
just that was
I'm
my moment.
excited.
But it's not gonna be very funny. So I'm afraid that people will be like, oh, this is not very funny. And also, okay, actually, I think you will okay, background for every people cannot know this, but like I met Nisha for the first time on New York Comic Con, and one of the things you were talking about was how people tend to be. We talked about how people tend to be unfair to female main characters, especially
Mhm.
ones that are angry,
Unlikable,
You're
yeah.
unlikable.
unlikable,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And Rue is just quintessentially unlikable. Like she's the main
Oh my
character,
God, I love it
and
already.
I know.
I
I
even
was
love her
like,
name.
it's from Euphoria because I'm obsessed with Rue in Euphoria. I just want the best for
Oh,
Nice.
her.
yeah.
I want the best for her, and I just need her to be
So
happy.
when is this book coming out? Because I'm
I don't
ready.
know. I think in June at some point.
June.
I
Oh,
don't
okay, not
June?
far at all. Oh, that's really fast.
Okay.
Okay,
Alright.
that's awesome.
Anyway, so I guess what I'm trying to say is, you guys, I
If your
not no,
publicists are listening, I would love an early
I don't.
copy, please.
Yeah.
I volunteer as tribute.
I'm just saying, you guys, if you want a rom-com, that's not like
No,
that's
no, I
not the
love
book.
some
And
angst.
I'm
That's
just telling
awesome.
the people so they don't waste their money, or maybe borrow it from the library.
Nobody's
Borrow it
wasting
from
their
the
money.
library if
Don't.
you're not sure. I love you guys. Sorry.
You're hilarious. I know, I love angst. I have to say, I have to bring up from Bride. I don't think this is a spoiler, but there's like an angsty moment near the end.
Mm-mm.
And I actually had to close the book because I was so upset. Like
I know what you're talking about, and I
yeah,
loved writing it. It was
I
yeah.
I had to
I
close
wrote
it
it.
and I was like, I can't read this. I need to put it away for a minute.
My
Okay.
favorite K-drama had like a moment like that, and I was like, I want to have like a similar
Okay,
moment
because
in a book that I
I was
write.
just like, oh, I can't believe that just happened. Like I'm building
Okay,
you
I
up.
will
I'm not
prepare
no
myself for
spoilers. I'm
that
just
then.
building you up. This is drama. Yeah,
Thank you.
okay,
Thank you for that.
drama. All right, let's go to what has been the best thing about switching from academic writing
Mm.
to fiction?
Um, I mean, there are so many. There are so many
I
that
mean,
I
I don't
cannot
know, but
even.
it sure sounds like fiction would be more fun, but maybe I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, just generally, it's more fun, but also just like there are reviews, but I don't read reviews, so it's I don't have to
Good
like deal
call.
with
Good
that.
call.
But like in academic writing, peer review is terrible because everything, like people like tear into every single
Mhm.
thing you write in a way, and then they make you change it when you do a study. So that was not fun for me. And so it's just nice that we can not read reviews, like we have that option in um fiction writing.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it's across the board, it's so much better though.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
moving from song well, I still write songs, but going from songwriting to long form writing was like, "Oh, I get to say more." And that was, like, the most
Uh,
fun things, like, with songwriting, you have to be really concise and sort of, like, get your point across in a few words because the melody dictates it, but with, writing books, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can actually really delve into this person, into what their thoughts and all of that," so
so I've
mhm.
always been curious, like when you or when people write a song, what is like, do you have the melody already and then you write the words, or is it
Sometimes it's the melody, sometimes it's the words, sometimes it's a rhythm, like, I'll hear, like, a drum pattern, and it'll, like, trigger something.
okay?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like
it's all
all
different.
together.
Yeah, yeah.
I always wonder. It's just, yeah, sometimes I listen to a song and I'm like, how much of a genius can you be? Like, how do people come up with that stuff? It's yeah.
I agree. I don't know how people write songs. I can't even imagine. Okay, so let's talk about a megaverse. Why did you
Let's.
want to write a megaverse? I remember seeing you in New York and at your panel, and you talked a lot about a megaverse and how much you love a megaverse. I'm not that well versed in a megaverse. What makes it a megaverse?
You're not that well Omegaverse in Omegaverse.
Yeah, I'm not that versed in a megaverse.
Hmm.
There's the not.
So
There's the
sorry.
not. I know there's the
There's the
not,
knot.
which
Really,
just
it's all
like
about the
sounds
knot.
painful to me. Like, do you think that feels good?
I mean, so I think in real life, it's probably the worst thing that can
I know,
happen to
like
a
I'm
person.
always doing
Yeah,
this whenever I hear about the knot,
yeah.
right? Like,
I just every time I will see you and you're like fidgeting in your chair,
you'll be
I
like,
will
she's
ask
thinking
you,
about
is
the
it the
knot.
knot? Is
Yeah,
it a
she's
knot?
thinking about the knot.
um, so I mean, for me, I just like the idea of the I mean, well, I grew up with the Megaverse, and by grew up, I mean I discovered what it was about 4 years ago, and I did not look back about.
Was it
It's
fanfic?
it was fanfic.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
A3, for everything you have done for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I think it's like the idea of something that shouldn't fit but somehow fits. But I
Mm.
also I have to be honest, like when I write sex in, or when I read sex scenes, I don't particularly like, I'm not a very self-inserty about that. So that's like, I think if I sat down and thought about the knot, I'd be like, oh my God, that is horrible. But like I'm like, yeah, it's someone else's problem. So does
Mhm.
that
Tell
make sense?
There's a couple questions about what is the knot. Can you explain what the
Okay,
knot
so the
is?
knot is, and this is the last event I do with Barnes and Noble ever, I think.
So
Goodbye.
You
we
can't
had a
mix
good run.
you
Thank you,
can't
Barnes
mix
and Noble, for your
spicy
support.
romance authors together and not have some cock in the discussion.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Okay, exactly. So you have like the penis, and then there is it's this thing that swells at the base, and the idea is it's what happens like in the animal kingdom. I don't know what animals actually.
Is there an animal that happens to? Okay.
I want to say wolves, but once again,
Somebody Google that for us, okay? Is there an animal where that actually happens?
I also want to say I am a scientist, but not the kind of scientist. I want to say it's wolves. I want to say, no,
It could
right?
be. I don't know. I have literally no idea.
Yeah, I would say. And so that what happens is like it gets stuck. And so basically the idea is that like I think it makes pregnancy easier. So that's why it's evolutionarily adaptive. But I am making this up. Like I want to make
I mean, I
it.
was believing it.
Okay, good.
I
If
was,
he sounds believable,
I
I'll
would
be
have
fine with
left
that.
this conversation and be like, did you know?
To your daughter.
Google is like, what is happening right now? Because right now people are Googling this.
You guys, if you are here and you didn't know that a knot was in the book and you want a refund, I will personally see
No,
two
now,
Barnes and Nobles refunding you.
no, because now they're more curious than
What's
ever.
that? What does it mean?
Now
Okay.
they're more curious than ever. If they were like,
There is
if this
another great book that I would like to recommend that is Omegaverse is The Fake Mate. It's by Lana Ferguson.
Oh, okay.
Also a great intro, but also just go on A3 and put in
Yeah.
Omegaverse. If there is a show that you like, you will find an Omegaverse fan fiction about that show,
Yep.
and you will be able to
Yep.
enjoy it because there is Omegaverse about literally anything.
Everything.
So
Yeah.
Nice.
Shout out
So what are you
AO3.
guys working on right now? What are you writing right now?
oh God, I feel attacked by this question.
If the answer is nothing, that is okay.
That is so mean of you. Like Zio has to go to her launch, and I am here, and I watch
Right.
K-drama all day
You
instead of
just
editing my
published
book.
books. You're allowed a break. But the question was asked.
Actually, unfortunately, I have a book due in like 3 weeks, so I should be editing my next, like not my next book that has already been announced, but the following one. But I am not. I am watching Marry My Husband, this K-drama. It's amazing. Highly recommend. It's fantastic.
I'm juggling 2 books right now.
Wow.
I'm working on the second in the Plays and Players duet, the sequel to Love on the Byline, and also Tiff's book, which is the bass player for the Lilies.
Nice.
So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Way to make me feel terrible. How
I mean,
dare you?
some of
Do you work on more than one book at once generally, or do you like to stick to one book at a time?
I usually like to stick to one book at a time, but both of these are kind of on the same timeline.
Right.
So, they just fell out that way. But yeah, so,
Is
you
it
know,
how how do you feel about writing sports romance and like do you have to do a lot of research? I'm asking
well,
for a friend.
I've only written hockey romance, and I love hockey, so I didn't have to do a ton of
So
research.
you knew already everything you needed to know.
A
Okay.
lot. I mean, just there's a lot of like behind the scenes stuff that you look up, to get the details right. But yeah, if it happens on the ice, I generally know what's going on.
hmm
But yeah.
I now I watch football because
hmm
of Travis and Taylor. So now I'm a
Yeah.
football fan,
Yeah.
Did you
I
become a
guess.
football fan? Okay.
I mean, I don't really
Fun.
know what's like literally. The thing is, as an Italian person, I grew up with soccer and well, we call it
Right.
football, but like soccer. And like if you watch a soccer game, you can tell what's going on, right?
hmm
But football, no. Like
Yeah.
I have no idea what is happening there. I'm
And they
like,
change the rules all the time. Like every season, there's new rules and rules get deleted, and yeah, it's
Really? Okay.
yeah.
no, I'm
All
like,
right.
what? This is even
I've
harder.
I've tried to understand it. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
not into sports, so like whatever.
well,
People.
I mean, I actually like I'm here having everyone was a 49er, I think is the team. The 49ers are my sworn enemies because of course I have to so I'm trying to pick fights with these people who have been 49 49ers fans for their entire lives. without even knowing what football
No, I
is.
know.
So yeah,
49ers. That sounds sportsy.
you're
I'm
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're getting close to the end of our time, so I'm gonna have 2 more questions for you. Let's give a book rec, something that's someone else not in this chat, a book rec that you want to shout out to.
I'm gonna.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay,
where is it? Okay, wait. I'll be back. I have a physical copy of the book, and
okay.
I want to show it. That's why.
I know I left the physical copy of the one I want to talk about too, but that's okay. You go first, Yo.
Well, there's a book coming out next Tuesday. I think it's the 13th. Sex, Lies, or
Oh,
what is
come
it?
on. Oh,
Oh,
come on.
what?
Same wreck.
I
Same
haven't
wreck.
heard of this. What? How you both have the same
Nikki
rec? What?
Payne. Nikki
It's
Payne.
because
Yeah.
Nikki Payne is like she writes. I don't even
Yeah.
know. I don't even know
Yeah.
what
You
to
don't
It's
even
say.
know
Jane
what you write?
Austen. It's Jane
Yeah.
Austen. But it's like the sexiest
Really?
contemporary. I don't even
Okay.
know. It's so
Sex,
amazing.
Lies, and Sense. And you've read it
Yeah.
already?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
The first one was called Pride and Prejudice. So this is the second one.
Oh, okay. Adding that to my list.
it's
Yes. Yes.
she okay, so this will make sense, but she is an anthropologist. She works for the Biden administration now, but like her training is in anthropology, and it's gonna sound weird, but you can tell when you read her books, even though they are like, they are romance novels, but like she has this ability to create these interconnected cast of characters, and you're like,
Hmm.
these are my friends, they are my best friends, and I know
Hmm.
them, and
Yeah.
it's I just
Amazing. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have to
Ah,
give a shout out for my very favorite book of 2023 was The Hurricane Wars. I know you're friends with Thea. I can't even
where
express
is my
how
copy?
I
Oh
can't
my
even
god,
express
I
how
know.
obsessed I am with that book and how like I wavered between not wanting to put it down and not wanting it to finish so that it wouldn't be over. And I have slid into her DMs and I'm intent on making her my friend because when you're an author, you can do that. It's you're allowed to do things like that. She probably thinks I'm insane, but
No, I mean, so
anyways.
first of all, she's like the nicest person.
She seems super
We
lovely.
were in the same fandom before. We were
Yes,
fan
I know
fiction, and
it's also Raylo also, yes. And
yeah,
oh, I just
she was this amazing writer, and she was like the biggest fandom writer, and she was so lovely to everyone. Like she's just she's
it
amazing.
was beautiful. And if you haven't read it and you love fantasy romance and enemies to lovers, it is like perfection. Like I just cannot.
If you love the idea of like someone like they literally are trying to kill each other, but they are
Yes.
also in
They're like
love.
the epitome of like I think enemies to lovers is a spectrum, but hers is like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
like yeah, it was delightful. I loved it.
It's amazing, and the second book is coming out
I know.
this fall.
I'm already in
So
her inbox being like, when are you getting the second one?
it's she and she like I really like the way she builds like her word. Like
Oh, it's just so
it feels so
visual.
rich.
The
Yes,
writing is beautiful.
I
Yeah.
highly
I
recommend.
haven't shut up about it since I read it. And that therefore I need to tell all of you. Okay,
Yeah,
quick
no,
last
it's
last
amazing.
question because we got to wrap up. Where
Wait,
can
I have to go
see,
sing.
since I haven't recommended, well, I mean, I guess
Oh
we
yeah,
were
give us another one because that was a double rec.
okay.
Oh yeah.
If okay, this is an older book, but it's amazing. It's fantastic. It's called Dead Girls by Nekesa Afia, and
Okay.
it's set in the Harlem Renaissance, and it's about this girl who her name is Louise, and she basically gets recruited by the police to help. Solve crimes because she's a black girl, and they need like someone who has access to places where the police doesn't have access, and she
Mm.
does not want to do that. And
Okay.
she is the best, the most like hilarious and like heartbreaking and fantastic main character
All right.
ever. I highly recommend it. It's a series. Dead Girls is the first one,
Okay. Now
and
my TBR
nothing.
is
I
even
just want
longer.
people to meet Louise because she's fantastic.
Awesome.
I
Okay,
guess
so last
for my
question is
my
where can oh sorry.
I was gonna do a quick second rec since we
Okay,
picked the
really
same book.
quick because we are like down to the wire
Yep.
here.
Salt Kiss from Sierra Simone.
Oh, I love Sierra Simone.
Sarah
She's amazing.
Simone is
She
Yeah.
taught me how
Yeah.
to write smut. Her American Queen
oh my
series, her New
god.
Camelot, the second book is that I learned everything about writing smut from her. Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
Last question is, where can people see you live this year? Where are you going to be hanging out?
Woo.
Events, shows, quickly.
We're all going to Stimulate, right?
Be it Stimulant. Yep.
Stimulate. I think, are you going to Polycon too, Ali? I know you are
I'm not.
too.
I
Okay, I'll
am,
be at a
yeah.
Polycon. I'll be at Stimulate, yeah, and what's the
Book
one?
Bonanza.
Book
I'll be at Book
Bonanza. That
Bonanza. I'll be at
one.
Rare Paris. I'll be
Oh,
at the LA
nice.
Times Book
Oh, that's gonna be so
Festival.
fun.
Yeah, I have a
Fun.
bunch of stuff. And tonight I'll be at the Fire in Philadelphia if you want to come see me sing.
Awesome.
I hope someone is taking videos, and I hope you post the videos on
We're gonna
social
try.
media.
We're gonna
So.
try. Yeah.
If you guys are in Florida, if someone is in Florida, I think it hasn't been announced yet, but at the end of the month, the Stimulate, so Mel is the founder of Stimulate, and
Oh, yeah,
she
yeah.
has a physical store,
Oh,
and
yes.
it's open,
Right,
like
right.
You're doing
it's
store
already
opening.
open, but like she's gonna have the official
Yeah.
grand opening, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there. I know it's not announced yet, but if you guys are there, you should come see us because
I
Mel
will
is the
not be in
best.
Florida, but that sounds amazing. Do you have a do you
You
have a
are
pre
so close.
do you have a
I forgot I'm gonna
pre-order
be
for
at Barnes and
Polycon,
Noble
do you?
Philadelphia next Saturday.
Do you have a
On
pre-order for
this
Polycon?
Saturday. This
Is
Saturday.
the one in Rittenhouse Square?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that Barnes and Noble so much.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be
Nice.
there on Saturday.
All
Have
over the
fun.
place. Well, congrats on to both of you on your book releases today. I'm so excited for both of you, and
Thank you.
thanks for joining us tonight.
Wait.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a book coming out next Friday, which is the sequel to this book, which is my other series. But anyways, doesn't matter.
And the first
No, it does matter.
The first one is on Kindle Unlimited, right?
Yeah, actually, all three of them are, because this
Okay.
series was originally indie and got taken over by the publisher back last summer, and it was already in KU, and they kept it in KU, so you can read it on Kindle Unlimited or
Okay.
find it
Awesome.
in your local bookstore.
Still
Thank you so much, you guys. It was
if you want
lovely.
romantasy, like the
Yeah, if you're into
romantasy,
romantasy,
this is what you want.
trials. Thank you so much. It was so lovely
guys.
to talk to you. This was so fun.
Thanks, everybody.
Sorry about the knots. If you want your refund,
Yeah,
just contact us.
and I guess we'll see you at some point this year also at all these
Yeah.
amazing events and
See you
shows.
guys on the road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I will see you at Stimulate for sure.
Yes,
We should go
absolutely.
to Disney together before.
Okay. We'll get no, I was going to say something, but I won't. Okay.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.